Well, here we are on another fabulous Tuesday. And I have to share with all of you, as much as I tell you every single week how much I love Tuesday, I have been really especially looking forward to today because, as some of you may have seen some of my comments, I am not going to just introduce you to another amazing woman, which we meet every single week, but probably one of the kindest, most compassionate women I have ever met. And what she is
Mm.
doing just pulls at my heart. And I'm so excited to have you not only understand what she's doing, but get to meet her. So, with no further ado, I am going to introduce you now. This is Jill Franquelli. And Jill, if you could just take a minute and tell a little bit about yourself before we dive into your project, I think that would be great.
Yeah. Thank you. That is a heartwarming introduction. Kind is such a great word. So I am one of the co-founders of Love and Lunches, which is an organization that works in Baltimore City, and we focus on those who are experiencing homelessness and food insecurity. And we work on meeting people where they are and providing moments, I guess, of little miracles for them to help get them to place of feeling secure.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
this is your, I would say, nonprofit side passion, which does not compensate you. So bless you even more for doing it for free. And I always like to, before we talk about something serious, ask if there's a little fun fact about you, just to let people have a little fun and get to know you. So, what is your fun fact that you would like to share?
Yeah. So in the last like few months, I've become a beekeeper. So yeah, I keep bees.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
So,
It's a good thing to do.
there is a beautiful story behind Love and Lunches, and it's a family business. Maybe you could start off and tell everybody how this came to be.
Yeah, I would love to do that. So, back in the 90s, when I was 12 and my brother was 10, my parents came to us and they wanted us to come up with a project to do on the weekend, some kind of community service. I would like to pause here to just say, looking back, I realized what my parents were doing. We were extremely poor. And I
Mm.
think my parents were trying to show us that we were actually very rich because we had a home and we always had food. So, back to the story. So, they wanted us to come up with a community service project that we could do. It was my little brother, Anthony, who, and I call him Bear. So, if that name pops up, he came up with the idea to feed those in Baltimore City who didn't have a home or who were hungry. And so one Sunday, we made 10 lunches and we drove into the city, and it took us 2 hours to deliver those 10 lunches. We didn't really know what we were like looking for. And we were very nervous to like offend somebody to give them food that maybe they weren't someone who needed it. And we did do that. We actually tried to give lunch to a doctor, but we were asking anybody. Um, but there was a defining moment on that very first trip. We walked up to five guys splitting a piece of gum. And I think that changed my family's life forever.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's remarkable.
Yeah.
And now it has grown. And tell us a little bit about what it is. And if you don't mind, one of the things that makes me feel like you're the queen of kindness is that it is more than just the food, that there's the love and the lunches. So can you share with everybody, what it is that you are doing specifically to help people?
Yeah. So I think I learned the love part from my mom. So back in the 90s, Love and Lunches was called Simple Sacrifice, and it lasted for 5 years. At the height of it, we were giving out 1,500 lunches in about 5 minutes. So quite a difference between
Mm.
those first 10 lunches and then 1,500 lunches. But it was during that time I watched my mom, how she interacted with people who other people spit on, who were kind of nothing, who were smelly, whose clothes looked bad. My mom just didn't care. And she hugged them and kissed them and loved on them and really just made them feel like humans, which I mean, that's exactly what they are humans. And yeah, my mom started to get sick and we had to close up because it was just too much. And so in 2015, right after the Baltimore uprising, it had always been in my heart to start Simple Sacrifice over again. And a coach I'd always had it in my mind to say like, oh, when I'm 40, I'll do it. And he had kind of like pushed me to do it sooner. And the Baltimore uprising happened, and the city was just in so much pain at that point. And I just kind of knew that this was the time to restart it. And so on Mother's Day in 2015, we restarted it exactly the same way, except we made 20 lunches instead of 10 this time. And we went right back to the very same spots that I remember we went as a kid. And it was my goal in that moment, and when we created like our values and our mission, was to really end the stigma for what it meant to be poor, for what it meant to live in poverty, for what it meant to not have a home. These individuals are just looked upon like they're nothing. And so that's the love part. And I think that's really what one of the many things that distinguishes us is when you come with us, the interaction that we have. These are our friends. They have my cell phone number. We know birthdays. We see pictures of their children. We have inside jokes with them. When someone is not there, we start to worry. I still remember Brad and Anthony from May 10th, 2015, two of the guys that we met who I've not seen since the end of 2015, but their faces are always with me. And so that, the lunches is so very important, but that love part is just important for us to provide for them.
And I really want to just to acknowledge you, because what you're teaching is having such a profound ripple effect. And a dear, dear friend of mine who has gone down and worked with you in Baltimore City quite a few times. One day I called her up, and that's kind of how I found out about you, actually.
Yeah.
She told me that they were packing lunches, and her daughter was writing notes and putting them with all the lunches,
Yeah.
letting them know that they were loved, et cetera. And I was like, oh my God, that is just so amazing to go that extra step to make people
Yep.
understand that they matter and that people notice them. It's just awesome. And I thought, wow, how beautiful what you're doing. But now that young lady, her daughter is going to grow up impacted the same way your mom impacted you.
And
So,
that's the goal, right? So that Angelina
okay, we'll
grows
say,
up. Oh, sorry. She grows up and she
yeah,
does this and teaches someone else. And so that kindness, that stigma starts to be erased, because the greatest issue, in my opinion, is we've made it embarrassing and shameful to have problems. And that's all anyone who doesn't have a home has experienced an issue. There's a lot of people who think everyone's a drug addict down there, or some people just had a bad accident at work and workers' comp wore out. And yep, if there's a statistic that if you've been on the street for 14 days, you will get an addiction. Well, that makes sense. Wouldn't you, if you had to sleep on the street, scared to death every night? I know I would do anything to dull that pain. So I just think there's like a lack of understanding and a lack of compassion. And so the very best thing that I can do is to show everyone that I'm just not afraid, and that giving someone my phone number who is poor doesn't mean that they call me and ask me for money all day long, because that is not what happens. It's just a friendship, and we are helping one another. I get just as much fulfillment and love from them as they get from me. And that's what I want to continue to show.
it's amazing because it is a friendship, and that is how
Yep.
friendships work. But, a lot of people don't think that that is even possible. And
Yeah.
yet Angelina is an extraordinary young girl anyway. And I
Yeah.
can't imagine what she'll do, as she
Yeah.
continues to grow up. It's wild. So now when you started this, you went out with some lunches. Did you have at this moment when you restarted the program a game plan? Are you just like, okay, I'm going to find people, how do you run
Yeah.
it now? I think that would be neat to understand.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could say that I have this well-developed business plan, but I think if you talk to a lot of nonprofit organizations like myself, I'm solely the one that is running like the business side of it.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is on a wing and a prayer. And so I have this great knowledge and understanding and a belief that we always have enough. And sometimes by not planning, that doesn't mean I don't get stressed and crazy things don't happen. And sometimes we're out of money and we have to do quick things to make things happen. And every time that happens, I think, man, we have a great community that helps us get through that. But in the moments where we allow things to go the course that they're supposed to, magic happens and connections are made. And, we were just able to donate a car to a gentleman quite like interestingly, if I would have said for 2020, we're going to donate a car because this started in 2020. We're going to get a car from someone and give them a tax credit and donate this to a gentleman. That would have never been in the plan. But someone called me and said, can you take a car? And I thought, well, I know the organization needs one, so yes, or I know a couple of our guys may need one. And so it took us like 4 months to get this thing figured out. But
Mm.
uh, actually, it was earlier this week. Wait, what day is it? No, last week. So it was I'm a little messed up.
Ever since the
So
pandemic, you don't know. I only know it's
yeah,
Tuesday because this is my favorite day when we get to do this.
yeah, I feel like because I'm talking about love and lunches, it's actually Sunday. That's why I'm like a little messed up. But so last week we actually delivered Gary a 2007 Acura.
Wow.
He is a Marine veteran who makes money on his retirement and has a home through the VA, but just doesn't have quite enough for what he needs. He is partially disabled, and he got hit in his truck and it, demolished his car. And so to hand him the keys to that car was so
Wow.
just such an amazing moment. And we didn't plan for that. And so I just, I think all like people who are business planners probably die every time I'm like, well, we just kind of like wing it. I never go at the beginning of the year. I know kind of how much money we need to fundraise. I just say at the beginning of the year, kind of like, we're going to help as many people as we can. And I'm going to say, when someone says to me, I have, and it's this big thing, I'm going to go, I'm finding somebody who needs this.
Yeah.
And it leads us on wild adventures. But we get to do like amazing miracles with it and just create like such happy moments for people.
That's such an incredible thing that you're able to do. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is you really, you give yourself not enough credit because you may not have this master game plan, but you're very, very resourceful. And I know that there are other people who are in this group that run nonprofits, et cetera. So I thought it would be great if you don't mind sharing a little bit about how you are starting to network with other nonprofits. Because
Yeah.
you shared a little bit with me, and maybe that'll not only someone here could help you, or you could help someone else, but maybe somebody in another part of the country, even who's running a nonprofit, could learn from your strategy.
Yeah. It took me a minute to realize like, oh, this is a smart strategy to work with other people doing very similar things that I'm doing because they're already doing this thing. And this kind of started to happen with the pandemic, but it took a lot of like beatings over the head. And so a gentleman invited me to a meeting this past Friday and kept saying like, I want to introduce you to this guy, Squeaky. And I was like, okay, Squeaky. I'm going to go to this meeting. And he runs the Ruth M. Kirk Community Center in West Baltimore. And Squeaky is the man in West Baltimore, and he is doing amazing things. And I was sitting there and I was like, he does something very similar, and he's further along in his nonprofit than what I am. Like, I want this community center. He has a garden. This is exactly what the kids come to him. There's all kinds of good things happening. And so this was just this past Friday. I just want to explain why this is so important to work with other organizations. So on Friday, we meet, exchange phone numbers. Sunday, he tags me in a post that on Monday, he's giving away produce boxes and some chicken nuggets, some cereal. I'm like, let me ask him if I can pick up for my guys. right? So I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, don't want to take from your community. Do you ever have overage? Can I take some to bring to mine? How many do you need? So I go on Monday morning after delivering to my community, and I have leftover canned goods that I've received, and my guys call it fancy bread. So we have a partnership with Whole Foods, and we get all the like bakery bread that's like so fancy. So
Oh,
we have
that's great. Yeah.
oh yeah, so like we have these 30 extra loaves, and I have some baby food and all this extra stuff. So I pull up to that community center with what I have and hand it to Squeaky and his team to help fill their grocery bags. And then they hand me what they have to help finish filling mine. And I mean, as I drove away, like I got very emotional because it is exactly what the dream and vision is. There is so much food resources. I mean, we need money, don't get me wrong. Like there is money that needs to be had to pay for those buildings and resources and all of that. So money is very important, but there's so many resources that we can kind of interchange in between one another when we start to connect those. And I also just found that he has a similar drive and passion. And so stuff happens real quick. And I think that's why like I'm grateful I learned that lesson 4 days ago with
Yeah,
him.
that's really remarkable, without a doubt. Now,
Yeah.
I know that in addition to the love and lunches, you've experienced some really touching success stories, and I was wondering
Yeah.
if you could pick a favorite and
Yeah.
share one with us.
So I have quite a few, and I was trying to think like which one to share, but I think
You can do two. It's fine. We're good.
okay, so let me do two, and I wanted to add one just because I shared a video today about it,
Mhm.
so that if anyone wanted to go to my social media, they could find it. So this one, well, let me share this one first. So his name is Ronnie,
Mhm.
and Ronnie is a blind gentleman, and so he had been coming to get lunches from us for like 2 years, and we just loved him, and he was always singing. One Sunday, like I could just tell that something was wrong. So we handed out lunches, and I went and talked to him, and his wife had passed away.
Oh,
So I sat there, and we hugged, and we were able to. So his wife was going to be buried that Thursday. So I'm like, okay, we can't have you living on the street preparing for your wife's funeral, right? So we put a call out to the community, and we were able to get him in a hotel for the days leading up to his funeral. And we got him a suit. And then this was really the first time I understood, and I feel like this is why I love this story. The power of story was that didn't stop. We were like, okay, we got him 4 days. That we can't now put him back out on the street.
yeah,
Like
I was thinking that. How do you, you
we
know?
can't do that. So how are we going to continue to do this? And through the community and through some resources, we were able to help facilitate reunification with the family member, and help get him the resources that he needed. And eventually, like Ronnie was able to get off the streets. And so such an example of a combination of resources. Like someone gave us their hotel points, someone had it was Christopher Schaefer's, he had his I can't say it, like Clothlier, is that how you say that fancy like clothing store? He had a store, and he helped get his suit. So it was like a combination of money and everyone's talents that helped do this.
Everybody
um,
pitched in, it sounds like. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And it was over Christmas time. And so it was just so great. And to see what was so awesome is you couldn't not love Ronnie. Like he had no sight, but was able to navigate the city. He sung all the time. Like
Wow.
him and I had like such a great relationship. I'm horrible driving, and I'm driving him around, and I hit a curb, and he's like, I thought I was the blind one. Like just so sassy to me all the time. And just such a great thing that, man, I'm so grateful that I have that relationship with him, and the world's a better place because we all got to meet Ronnie. and
Yeah.
we all got to see him. And so the second story is Jessica and Justin. And so I just posted a recap video that Tuck Media did for us. And so Jessica and Justin, they had come through Love and Lunches for a while, and they had been living in a hotel room for quite some time, and had finally found some permanent housing. So they need some like housewares, like
Yeah.
stuff like bed, all this good stuff. And so she just Jessica asked a simple question like, do we have anything? And I was like, well, let me see what I can do. And, I never like really, I always, I do want to say this. I'm very keenly aware of sharing people's trauma in down moments
Mhm.
to make money. And I will say nobody gets paid. Every penny that's ever collected goes straight back to whatever the organization does. So anything that's ever posted is done with everyone's permission, with the understanding that they're helping raise money to help this. So we
Sure.
did, ask them for their permission and if they would be part of this so we could help raise this. And so I said, I can get you your whole house worth of stuff. I just need you to tell me your story. And so that's what we did. And so um, their entire house furnished, and
Mm.
from some grocery cards to a moving company picked up everything from everyone's house, and to it's awesome to see the reaction of Jessica and Justin, but that's not what is truly amazing. What is life-changing and really what is the goal of Love and Lunches is everyone who donated, everyone who was part of that created a moment that has changed them forever. And if we change ourselves when we see like we're part of a bigger system, that my one thing helps someone, the ripple effect that Pamela, that Blair, that Pat, that Lisa, all of these individuals, and there are many more, Moyer and Sons, I'm going to forget everyone, so I'll stop. The ripple effect that they created for someone's future, that's how you change the world. It's not one person doing some life-altering thing that we all feel throughout. It is, you created a moment, and Jessica and Justin's life has forever changed, which changed the next generation's
Oh,
life, which changed the next generation's life, which changes the world. And so, yeah, it's a sneaky way to change the world, but that is
it's a
exactly,
good sneaky way.
yeah, it's exactly what my plan is, because you can't not feel it when you see and when you meet them, because Jessica and Justin had addiction issues and they're very open about that.
Yeah.
You don't go, oh, those are just drug addicts, they don't deserve anything. You're like, man, these are people really trying. They're really trying their hardest and they deserve it. And when we start to have conversations, correct ones, about trauma,
Mhm.
about addiction, about what it means to be sick, what it means to be poor, what it means to be those things, these issues will start to go away, because we'll
Well,
all start to be aware.
I would not only invite, but encourage you, if you're okay with it, to maybe share those videos in here, post them in the group
Oh
too.
yeah, sure, I will
I'd
do
love
that.
for you to do
Yeah.
that so everybody can watch that
Yeah.
in addition to, watching this conversation we're having. And
Oh yeah.
what I love what you said, because some people don't know how to help. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, another thing that would be great, and I'm full blown inviting you to do that. If you ever are like, hey, we need something, post it in here. Cause we've
Okay.
got
Yeah, for
a bunch of
sure.
people in here, and one of us can probably meet your need. There's a wide variety of people who do a lot of different things, a
Yeah.
lot of resources. But also, if somebody's watching this and they're moved by what you're doing, but they don't live anywhere near Maryland, because you and I
Mhm.
are both here in Maryland. Let's say, they're in California or they're in Texas or wherever they are, and they think, I would really like to start something. What
Yeah.
would you tell them to do? They're just sitting here going, how do I do something like that? Do I just drive downtown? Like, what would you tell somebody who wants to
Yeah.
touch someone else's life?
You just drive downtown. I mean, it's literally, I think, not to oversimplify it, but
Yeah.
that is why the original name of it, just to address that, was Simple Sacrifice. Was literally, it's not easy to do these things. It is very difficult sometimes, but it is very simple. To help someone is just to drive downtown And I think we have fear because we may offend someone. And so I like to, when someone comes and volunteers with us, we do have a little talk track that we go through to say like, okay, when you're walking up to someone that you're going to give them a lunch, like this is what you're going to say to them. And this is what I say. Hey, buddy, you want a lunch? And they'll go yes or no. And if they say no, you don't feel shame. You don't feel bad because they wanted, and I, people follow my lead. And so, and that's what you do. And it's like, you find something, and it doesn't have to be feeding those who are hungry. It could be something with pets. Like you find something that you're passionate about and you just do it in your community, right? You can make an impact in whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like it doesn't have to become, and I think we've never set goals and plans to take over the world. We've never tried to extend it past Baltimore City because our need is here. And I often tell people, we have donors from outside of the state because those individuals are people who used to volunteer with us. But we say, when you're in your community, donate for your community. Find your Ronnie, find your Jessica and Justin. Make sure, because that changes your world. That makes your world a better place. And there's, if anybody's afraid, there's laws, federal laws that exonerate anybody. If you have good faith that you're giving out good food, no one can sue you for it. So you don't have to worry about any of those things. And as far as it comes for like receiving money donations from friends, and creating an organization, wait till you've collected a couple $1,000s before you start to think about stuff like that, right? Like it takes cash to do that. So we started making lunches in May of 2015, and we didn't incorporate until November of 2015 because we just were like, I obviously as an entrepreneur build it as I fly down. So, I was like, oh, I'll get this done. But don't waste time doing that until this is exactly how you want it to go.
Excellent. And I know you've mentioned a couple times that you don't have a strict structure or anything, but I do know that you have a dream and a vision, which is different. And you say, like, where would you say if you could wave a magic wand in 5 years, for example, you would love to see what happened with Love and Lunches?
Yeah. So, and this is going to happen. So I'm going to have an entire city block that is going to be dedicated to like a Love and Lunches complex. We're going to have places for individuals to stay during addiction time to help them work through that, and staffing and we're going to work to get people off of the streets in Baltimore City, and as well as continue our food outreach. I want a food truck, like for this to go from Sunday and grocery delivery to really much like Squeaky has done, right? Like to follow in his footsteps. That is what I want to do to make and continue to make an impact. So we got big plans for 5 years.
Wonderful. And though we do have people from everywhere, Europe, Japan, United States, we're all over the place. But
I mean, we'll take money or anything from anywhere. I'm just a big advocate for like, do it in your community.
Yes. So I was going to say, okay, if somebody is watching, obviously you do have a website. They can donate online, right?
Yep.
You want to give out your website?
Yep. It's loveandlunches.org. And
then
you could also, if you have Venmo, go to Love and Lunches on Venmo as well. And then you can communicate with us on any of our social media, which is Love and Lunches. And, we can help you like figure out how to donate or sign up to make lunches on a Sunday.
That's what I was going to next.
Yep. We're also looking for individuals we have some board positions open. So if anyone's looking to really go deeper in any type of volunteer experience, we're looking for individuals to help with that as well. Or if you're just looking to do like a, kind of a larger project, like, I'll post the video of Jessica and Justin. Maybe you want to host something like that. We can help you do that too.
So they can donate money. They can make sandwiches. And now if someone wants to do that, can they make things look, I'm just gonna be very honest, because I want to get organization help for you.
Yeah.
So, some people will be comfortable going downtown, and I know some people won't.
Yeah.
It's just reality.
Nobody has to come downtown. So
So if
how we
they
have
want to
it.
go with you, they
Yeah.
can go with you and really experience everything that you're doing. But if
Yep.
they want to help and they're, I don't know, they never lived in the city. Like I lived in the city for years. Some people are a little
Yeah.
funky about that.
Yep.
They can still make the stuff and
Yep.
you, or what else can they do too?
Yeah. So they can, right now with COVID, especially, we have a lot of people who they make the lunches with their family or whoever, like a group of friends or by themselves, and they'll deliver to us on Sunday. And then we deliver them downtown on Sunday. And then it's only been in the last month that we've started to allow people to come with us back downtown, because
Sure.
we're now having more people, more of our friends are becoming vaccinated. Masks aren't an issue getting anymore. So yeah, if they're comfortable, they come with us. And then, another great way to help is to make hygiene kits. So, you're able to make female ones, or, socks are always something people need. And you put like snack bars and hand sanitizer, things like that. Yeah. If you Google blessing bags, that gives like a good list to put in there. Yeah.
So that gives people multiple options,
Yeah.
to be able to help. And if they're too far away, or, they've got health concerns, they can always donate on your site too.
100%.
Do that. But I do really hope that you will post if you need things in the group, because
I will.
I think that would be great. And,
Yeah.
you just never know. And I'd love also for you to network with some of the other people who are running nonprofits. You are in the group now. So is it okay if people contact you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I would love that. Like I am, since last Friday, a firm believer, like you have to work with those already doing it, because
Sure.
they already understand kind of the struggle behind it. So yeah, if anybody has questions about nonprofits or starting theirs, I'm more than happy to help with and answer any questions.
Excellent. And we will post under this video, we'll make sure we post a link to your
Sweet.
website and as well. So anything else that you think of, you can post in here, and add it either in the comments under this video, or if it's in a week or two and something comes up, I would love to really do that. And I just want to tell you, Jill, I really respect so much what you're doing. And it's so far beyond the food, not to take away in any way from people providing food, because we can't live without it. So that is incredibly important. But, just your compassion and your kindness and your spirit and the way you are changing everything one person at a time is beyond beautiful. And I really appreciate you coming in here and sharing. And I hope we get a lot of, attention and love and support for what you're up to, and maybe even duplicate it in some other areas too.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you, Leanne. Like anytime I can talk about it, I appreciate it. And thank you for this group.
Oh, I'm
awesome.
so grateful to have you here. You have no idea. So thank you very, very much. And we'll get some stuff posted and see if we can get you a little help to change the world. How's that?
Thank you.
Okay, you guys have a great day. Hope you all enjoyed Jill even half as much as I did. And we will be back here next Tuesday. So we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.